With me, Tony Viscomi. How you doing, Tony?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. It's good to finally get you in here. We talked about doing this for a little bit. I'm glad I finally got you.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, so here we are.
Yeah,
Let's
I've
go.
had a lot of the big time fighters that have come out of this gym and out of the area itself. We have Pat Mix, we have Solomon Renfro. I can't not have you on, man. You're gonna be the next big thing coming out of this gym for sure.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
You have the best Muay Thai that I've seen in the area in a long time. People compare you to Nick Dodge. You're way better than Nick Dodge. No offense, Nick.
I love Nick, but that's high praise. I appreciate that.
I fought Nick and I spar with you. I know, like,
Yeah.
you're definitely better.
Maybe you're older now.
Yeah, maybe I'm just older now. He's older too, though.
Nah, fair enough.
What got you started in Muay Thai, man?
So actually, it's funny. So I did sport karate for like, I don't know, 10 years or so when I was younger. And I stopped probably when I was like 16, 17. I was in high school, stuff's going on. I got life going on. And then I actually was played lacrosse like all throughout, like through school. And then my senior year, I actually blew my knee out playing lacrosse. So I had to
Were you good?
I was good, man. I started. Dude, here's the rough part. I got my knee blown out the second face-off, the first game of senior year. I was the captain, I was a starter, and bam, like 3 minutes in, whole season's over. Knees blown out. But so I was all right, Caveman. Leave me alone.
I just figured you'd be like phenomenal at
No,
it. Well,
I picked it up a little later. No, but I loved it. But I'll get to that in a second. So I had to get like my ACL, meniscus, and MCL like all redone, reconstructed as much as they could. So I wasn't playing lacrosse anymore. I had a couple small opportunities to play in college, which I was considering because I love the sport. I had a redshirt offer to swim at NU, which would have been torture. I didn't like swimming. I did it, but I didn't like it. But
you're pretty muscular for swimming.
Yeah, I wasn't this big. I was probably like 160, probably like
right.
over 170.
You don't
now.
look very buoyant right now.
Not right
Chisel
now.
out of rock.
Yeah, I was a diver. I was more of a diver than I was a swimmer. Like all the lips and twists and trying to look pretty. Wasn't that great. But anyways, so I was living with a friend at the time, and his dad did jiu-jitsu. His dad's the one who brought me into it because I was getting kind of like antsy sitting on the couch. I couldn't really do anything, and he'd been trying to get me into it for like weeks. Me and his son trying to get us to go in and check it out because he was obsessed with it. And this was at Fight Sport Training Center in Niagara Falls with Chris and Craig Reed and Frankie Knuckles, Frankie Scalzo.
Scalzo.
Yeah, so shout out to Fight Sport. But eventually I was like, you know what do I have to lose? And he was telling me, I was like, I just had the big Terminator cast came off. I had the surgery done, but I was still in rehab. I was super weak. My right leg, the one that I had it done, was like significantly smaller than my left leg for being on crutches and not using it for like 4 or 5 months. But he was telling me, he was like, you don't need a kick or pivot. You can start on your butt. You can start on your back. You can just use your upper body for a lot of it, your hips, So it's like, you know what? It's better than nothing. So I actually started doing jiu-jitsu with Frankie Scalzo over at Fight Sport like twice a week in Niagara Falls. And then from there, as I started to get stronger and better, my knee started to get stronger, and I started to get like more obsessed with jiu-jitsu. Then I wanted to start doing some more stand-up striking, so I started doing that, and then I just kind of fell in love, I guess, again with hitting stuff.
You can't find a better guy to train with than Frankie Scalzo,
oh
man.
my goodness, man.
Guys
He
get
was
some
relentless.
serious rounds in, I'm sure.
He was relentless. He was one of those tough love coaches, and that was exactly what I needed.
Do you think that's kind of what set your style? I mean, you have kind of that Scalzo style. I mean, you use a lot more motion. You don't stand there like he does, and you're more athletic. He's kind of just sits there and bangs. But he has that relentless style that you have. You don't stop going forward. I mean, you have a different athletic style, but like that mentality is what I mean.
It's possible. I never thought about that because my style has evolved over the years. When I first started, like my kicks were probably always my strong point. My right kick was always fine, even though that was the knee that got hurt. It was my left kick that gave me a problem for a while because I had to post up and pivot on my right knee, on my right leg, and so that was gave me a problem. But my kicks were always fine, and I think part of that had to do with doing karate for so long. I had some of it an idea. Then I came here, and Coach Corey Combs was like, "Oh, I see potential in you, but we're gonna fix all that karate flicky stuff." And so over the months, I just got totally obsessed with Muay Thai, like I had been with jiu-jitsu, but now my knee was healthier and I was feeling better. At this point, I've probably been training for about almost going on a year, probably like 8 months, and I had 2 fights, 2 like smoker fights, like one MMA and one kickboxing fight at that gym at Fight Sport. The MMA fight, I won by submission of all things.
Is that how you got your ear?
No, I got my ear here.
Oh,
Like probably a year later when I was here, yeah.
from jiu-jitsu or from Muay Thai?
Oh no, from jiu-jitsu, because when I first
awesome.
came here, I was so obsessed with it and I wanted to do them both. And yeah, I got this ear all banged up. I was out for a while, got all infected and swollen up. Oh, that's a whole nother story.
It's a handsome ear.
But yeah,
For everyone that's listening, it's a handsome ear. I'll put some pictures in here so you can see it.
But yeah, over the years I've been training, my styles evolved because my kicks, like I was saying, were always my strong point, and my hands for a long time were not up to par. So I would kick, I'd try and play keep away. I saw that karate mentality a little bit, where I like hit and move and hit and move. And I wasn't really throwing hard like power shots all the time. I was more concerned about hitting and moving or manipulating my opponent's rhythm and stuff. And then what happened was, for the first time, I went out and trained out in San Diego when I was visiting family out there. And I was training Art of 8 under Mike Lemaire and Melkor Manor. So, Coach Mel had been in fighting in Japan, and K1, Famasato, and all these huge names. Mike Lemaire, WBC champion, French national champion, so some very good names. So I went out there, and some of their guys just tore my legs up with low kicks because I had like this wide style. I had like this really wide stance, and I wasn't really defense conscious because I was always hitting and moving. Well, they got their timing down, and there were days like I remember the one day we sparred on a Saturday, and for almost a full week I could not walk down the stairs the right way. Like I had to go like one step at a time because my leg, like I don't bruise, so you couldn't really see, but I could feel it. Like it hurt to sleep, it hurt to sit, it hurt to walk, and so that really made me kind of re-dial in. And then for a long while, probably over a year, my style all became about defense. Staying tighter, staying looser, tighter stance, lighter on my feet, but not bouncy so much. Kind of defend, slip, roll, take the shots, check the shots. So then it evolved that way. However, then I'm all defense. They say defense wins championships, but in fights, if you're not throwing, even if I'm not getting hurt, and I lost a fight like this, I'm out in Rochester in 2017 to Michael Carson, who's just went pro.
Man, he looked great in his last fight.
He looked phenomenal in his last fight.
I would like to see you guys fight now.
Yeah,
I'm sure you're a lot better too.
I'm
man.
sure we'll meet again. So I'm not even gonna worry about that right now.
Elbows.
That'd be fun. I don't know if he's about that, but anyways, he had that very similar style. Maybe his boxing wasn't as tight as it is now and stuff, but he was nonstop. It was high volume strikes. He has great range control.
I actually just watched that fight too.
You should.
Calling that fight for FCP when he fought, and man, you did not look like you look now. No, you could definitely see your defensive style.
Yeah.
At the time, I was like, man, maybe he shut you down. I didn't realize that's kind of how you fought at that time.
Yeah. So if you watch that fight, I throw a whole bunch of low kicks, but I just kind of stand there. And granted, my strength and conditioning we've been going through different variations. So I was super strong. I could have went all night, but I was kind of heavy.
You didn't look fatigued at all.
I know I wasn't. If it was 5 rounds, I think it might have helped a little bit. I knew I was doing some damage with those low kicks. I knew I was doing significant damage with those low kicks in the later round. But still, what was happening was I wasn't hurt at all. He was throwing stuff. They're going off my arms. I was slipping. However, because I wasn't really throwing back, and because I was letting him control the ring and control the pace, I lost that fight. So I wasn't hurt at all. I would say, if anything, I probably hurt him and his lead leg more than he hurt me at all. He barely touched me. He had a couple good shots, maybe 2 or 3. But after that fight, I really had to take a step back, and I took time away from fighting, time away from the gym to really recalibrate myself. And so I really dialed in and focused with Coach Corey, and
how did you
took more boxing classes.
Over to WNY from Frankie's place?
Yeah, so Frankie was just the jiu-jitsu coach there, and he was just like, if you're serious, you should come check out WNY MMA where I train, because he's had 1 or 2 more fights before he went off to do his grown-up thing. But I think like he like right after I came here, he had one more fight. Like right after I came here, like weeks after I came here, he had like maybe his last fight, his last amateur fight. But it was his suggestion, and I came here, and I live in Lewiston, so it was a long drive, 35-minute drive every day, and I was like fresh out of high school, but it was worth it. It was worth what I was paying, worth the drive, worth the time I was putting in, because I would come here and I'd be here all night. I would do like Muay Thai. At the time, I wasn't a coach, so I didn't have so many responsibilities. So I just train. Right. I do Muay Thai. I do conditioning. I do no-gi jiu-jitsu. I do the rolls, and then I go home. So I'd be here like 5 o'clock, be leaving like after 9 every day, or about for like a year.
How did you get connected with Coach Corey then? He just watch you train and be like, I gotta take you.
I took his classes. He was coaching Muay Thai. I was taking all the kickboxing classes. I was staying away from boxing because I knew I was bad at it, which is not what you're supposed to do. And I learned that, after that fight with Carson, like in 17, I had to really focus on my hands. But I was really all about jiu-jitsu, no-gi jiu-jitsu, because that's what I had done in fight sport. I never used the gi. So I was all about the no-gi jiu-jitsu and the kickboxing and Muay Thai. And once I started clinching and throwing elbows and knees with Coach Corey, I was just like totally like enveloped in that. I love kickboxing with Coach Corey Webster too, and having two very different styles. I could kind of pick and choose and play with what worked for me. But it was something about the Muay Thai, just like the beauty of brutality.
So do you like that lead kick that Corey throws, or you like a full switch kick? Or you kind of play both.
I use both. It kind of depends in the moment what's going on. Like you're saying with Webster, you can see with like a Joe Taylor, you see with like Vanessa in her fights, the people who we say come through like the Webster lineage, they have that more like step in kick or that lead kick, almost like a snap kick, but enough hip on it to make you respect it, Whereas, yeah, of course, Corey Combs has that full switch, turn your hips over and break their ribs or anything you can get.
It always looks so sissy when Corey throws it, but it hurts so bad.
Oh, his time. It doesn't need to be so much power, because his placement and his timing is. I can't tell you how many times I think I'm doing good, and I walk in on Corey and I walk into a left kick under my right elbow, right in the liver, and I just have to take a breath.
I know, he just got me with that last week. I know the feeling.
Yeah, so it's like
spitting out my mouthpiece. Like, oh,
that was an accident.
That was perfectly placed. That was a great knee. I went home. I talked about. I'm like, he's so good. My wife thought I was a retard. So now you're training with Corey. When did you guys start to become like family? You guys are
close. You know what? I don't know, man. Over time, I just really was like I said, I was totally, for at least a year. When I say addicted, I mean like that's all I could think about was Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu. And then as I started to do just more kickboxing fights, I kind of leaned away from the Muay Thai. I started leaning away from the Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling a little bit, still here and there, but not as much. And then I think once I kind of got my shoulder tweaked on Big Blue over there wrestling one day with the new guy, just sometimes the new guys just yank and pull,
Spazzy,
and it was right before a fight. I was like 2 weeks before a fight or a week before a fight. I was doing it for like extra conditioning. I've been doing it with Coach Pat Mix for a couple of times. I come in late from Muay Thai, but I'd be like, can I jump in for conditioning or the live rolls? And he'd be like, he was always like, of course, sure. I could handle myself. But right before a fight, I got my shoulders yanked out of place. And after that, I was like, I went through the fight up in Toronto, won the fight, great promotion, Destiny Promotions. Shout out to Steve Lee and Redemption Muay Thai up there. But after that, I was like, I don't want to be messing around. If right now I'm just focused on kickboxing and Muay Thai, and eventually I still plan on doing MMA probably next year, getting closer and closer to it. But at the time, I was like, if I'm just doing stand-up fighting, I don't want to risk it. And so I really was just putting as much time as I could get with Corey. And then we started to train extra on Mondays and Thursdays for strength and conditioning. And then we started, from there, I think we just, over time, just grew. And then I started teaching some classes when he couldn't. But it was just, for a long time, our fight team was just me and Sean Doyle. You know?
Man, you guys turned Sean Doyle from that little nerdy kid into a killer.
Yeah.
He's looking
Yeah.
really good, man.
He's still a little nerdy kid.
Yeah, he's still
But
a
he's
little nerdy kid, but
a
he's
little
a
nerdy killer.
nerdy killer. It's like a jiu-jitsu wizard killer, except he's a Muay Thai killer.
Yep. And that's with Corey, man. Because before, like, we had talent, but we had no direction. We had like ambition, but we had like no one like pushing us to really get after it ourselves or like help us break those barriers. Like with Corey Combs, we've broken barriers that I didn't even know I had. Like I would just assume that was my limit. You know, I didn't even know that I could go past them. You know, and the mental side of like the physical training, of like the strength and conditioning, and being rocked in fights and being able to continue, or being rocked in fights and not being scared. It's something I noticed in my first title fight this past September. I took a couple shots, and whereas before I would get nervous and be like, oh no, he's winning the fight, like it would just shut me down before. It's kind of what happened in the Carson fight. He just put on a flurry, and I know it wasn't hurt, but I would just, there's nothing I can do about it, and I just kind of shut down. But with all this physical and mental training that was going on, with the putting ourselves intentionally in bad situations and being exhausted, and just being still having to go full power, full speed, full force when you're like beyond tired and you want to cry and throw up. From there, that's what in this my first title fight I noticed. I had a quick 1 second of panic, and then I was able to reel it in real fast and be like, no, I'm not doing that, you know. And that was huge, man. That was huge, and that's something that since then I've been able to like really emphasize with the fight team guys and newer guys that are coming on the team. And you know, before fights, nerves are crazy. They can be crazy. They get better with experience. Yeah, not you.
I don't get,
no,
like,
maybe
nervous.
not then. But
I get excited, like I just get like crazy.
oh, me too. But there's still times. I think maybe it's just
The only
when
thing
you're
that's
younger.
nervous for me is like after I make weight, because it's not real until you make weight and you see the guy and you line up.
Yeah.
That's when the nerves hit me. Like I don't get nervous the whole fight week. Just once I make weight and then we do the stare off. That's when I'm like, oh, it's for real now.
Yeah.
Like then you gotta like really take that self doubt into account. But before then, I'm just like I'm totally focused on making weight and making the fight. But then that hits you and it's like, and then your hotel room by yourself and you're like, oh man,
Yeah.
what am I doing? Why am I doing that?
Why am I here? But at the same time, that same question, why am I here? Why am I doing this? And those were questions that some people, I don't know what, even a lot of people hear, you know, no names in particular, and I'm not calling anybody out or anything, but something like people training, like, want to fight, like, okay, why do you want to fight? You know? And that was something that Corey made us face, especially like me, and he's like, you know, he made us find that reason why, because there are some reasons that just aren't good enough, so to speak. Like if you're just doing it for show, for sponsors, to call yourself a fighter, when it gets nasty and you're in a dangerous position and you want to quit, you'll quit, you know. But if you have a bigger reason why you're fighting, and the reason you're fighting, and why you're training, why you're putting your life on hold, you know, and doing these terrible things to your body, you know.
You mean fighting's not healthy?
But yeah, so I don't know, over time, just with time and experience, more fights, more camps, more training, just day in and day out, that's how our families, we've gone from total strangers to, like you said, family. 100%.
You have a very tight knit group. It got huge.
Yeah.
You got like 10 guys out there running with you in the freezing cold. I got my car heat on and my coat on. I'm like, you guys are nuts. I'll do that shit in the summertime. But
Right?
I'm not about the winter. You got kettlebells out there. It's like 40 degrees.
Yep.
You're nuts.
Yep. Well, here's the thing. With that experience, with that time, has come trust. My last fight, I was probably more nervous for my last fight than I have been in 2 years for a fight. Maybe not 2 years. We'll say 18 months for a fight, because I know anything about the guy. Before, I would not want to watch tape on anybody because I'd like psych myself out a little bit, and maybe I'd watch a little bit, but that was it. I'd psych myself out. But now I'm at a spot where I'm not that like mentally intimidated nearly as much, and so I prefer to watch tape, actually, just bits and pieces, what works, what doesn't work, nothing too crazy, but you know.
I'm obsessive. I just watch it over and over again. I'm like, I have to try and pick up tells and like this.
Well,
guy's
yeah,
this way.
yeah. I've always prided myself, honestly, on being able to pick up patterns and tells while they're happening during the fight. I can see a one time, like for as long as I can remember. I've been able to pick up tells. Now, sometimes when I was earlier fights, I didn't mean I'd be able to do anything about it, you know.
Right.
But I'd see those shots coming before they came, and I'd be able to defend myself at least. Maybe I wouldn't be countering, maybe I wouldn't be pivoting out, moving, whatever. But now with his last fight, there was nothing on this guy. It's Jesse Billinghurst from Mateus Militia, hard as nails, hit hard. You know, probably the toughest dude I ever fought, to be honest. And he just won the lace-up title in a phenomenal fight. That fight was exciting. I don't know if you saw that, but that was him and EJ fought, went at it. But that I had no news, I had no video, no nothing on him, and all I knew is that how the Mateo Militia guys kind of fight. They'll fight a similar style, which is nonstop pressure, don't back down, don't let you breathe, punches and bunches. And in the past, like with Carson, that had given me trouble. This high volume striking, when I don't have time to breathe, especially punches, they give me trouble. Now I'll kick with anybody. If you want to get technical, we'll do it. That will fun. You know, that's fun to me. I will. It's a mental chess match, you know, and I'm trying to pick up these cues on the fly, and I love that. But this nonstop, just in your face brawler style, not about it. But so I had no video on him, but I thought in my head, and I planned it out with Coach Corey, like, okay, if that's what happens, this is what, you know, we'll have to do. It's K1, so we can't really clinch him up, which would be ideal. We have to slip and knee and counter and keep him at bay and check the inside leg and all these things. Going into the fight week, I was so freaking nervous. Like, I've not felt that kind of anxiety in maybe ever before a fight, honestly. Except maybe my very first ever one on lace-up, my very first fight out of here, when I took the fight 2 weight classes up on less than a day's notice. That wasn't so good. But I didn't have time to think or game plan, because exactly like we thought, he just came forward, didn't let me breathe, punches and bunches, and it was all right. Like, I was comfortable with it because I didn't have time to think about it. It was like almost, we'll say like at least 80, probably 90% muscle memory and just what we'd have been drilling and training. And that only comes with like being able to let myself go and just let my body take over and see the cues and trust them in a split second. That all comes from trusting my coach and trusting our training. Because if I had like double guessed him, or I wasn't listening to him in the corner, or I was, you know, got scared or nervous and I didn't trust myself, I didn't have confidence in myself, I would have froze up and probably got hurt. But instead I ended up, you know, winning decisively, getting the point, getting the extra point, you know, the knockdown point. So, you know, it's funny because my mom came up to me afterwards and she was like, you know, honestly, me and your sisters were kind of worried. We didn't think you won that fight. Like, she goes, well, we didn't think you lost the fight, but it's not how you normally fight. Like, if you see me fight when I like to fight, control the range, control the style, very fluid, smash kicks. I like to control. With that one, I was almost constantly backpedaling, slipping, rolling, you know, clinching, knee and release. It was crazy. It was madness. But I knew when the fight was over, I knew I won. But not even counting the knockdown, I knew I won. Like, I knew that I hit him more than he hit me, and I knew I made him miss, and I knew I didn't just make him miss, but I made him miss, and I was able to counter, and I was able to. And I was actually sometimes, you know, amateur judging can be really, really sketch. Yeah, we'll say shitty. It can be real sketch, real suspicious. But I thought I was happy that they did a good job because I knew I won. Like, yeah, I knew I won. That fight too. He came in and he might have looked like the busier fighter, and he probably honestly was the busier fighter, but I was definitely the cleaner, more efficient fighter. Effective fighter. Exactly. And I knew I was that night. And that, like I said, that only came from trusting my coach and trusting my training, and in turn trusting myself to execute what we've been working on for the last couple of weeks.
Do you think that some of the anxiety you felt going into that fight was because of that trust, and like you don't want to let Corey down, you don't want to let your team down? You're like the number one student for Corey. You're like the leader of the team. Is that some pressure you felt, or was that not part of it?
A little bit. I'm working on not feeling pressure with these fights. No, Corey always tells me, she's like, this is amateur fight. There's no pressure. Like, don't worry about the titles. Don't worry about the people in the crowd. Like, go out there, have fun. He tells me. He's been telling me for years. He goes, Tony, like, you are good enough, or I will put you up against anybody, which is high praise, and I know he means it. And he's not just like gassing me up or like trying to inflate me or make me feel good. Like, he means it, and I can see it.
Do that to anybody, to be honest with you.
Huh?
I don't think he gas anybody out.
No. I love that about Corey.
You probably shouldn't fight.
I love that about Corey. He's brutally honest all the time, and that's because he cares. He's like, I'm not about to let you go hurt yourself, idiot. But I do more so, I think, than Corey. I think I was a little worried about letting losing in front of my family, losing in front of I know like if I lose in front of Corey, like shit, damn it. All right, let's go back to the drawing board. I didn't execute. Of course, I don't want to have that feeling, but and I didn't think I was gonna let myself down because I had 2 fights in the last like 6 months, both title fights against tough guys, like 2 of the other top guys in Central Western New York area, you know, and I beat them both decisively. Not a scratch on me, you know. Actually, EJ landed a pretty good shot, but that was it. But so I wasn't worried about that, but I always got a little worried about like not disappointing my family. I don't think they'll be disappointed in me, but I don't want to see them to see me lose if I can help it, you know. So and I didn't know what he was bringing to the table, and at least when I know what he's bringing to the table, I can prepare for it the best of my abilities. But I had no idea. I was like going in there blind almost. I just had like I'd never even seen him fight. I'd seen some of his teammates fight. I'd seen 2 of his teammates fight, and that was it. And I was kind of basing my prediction off of him, off of that. Now, that might not always work. You know, Sean Doyle does not fight the same as me. Marshall does not fight the same as me. We're all teammates.
3 totally different
right.
styles.
All under one
Totally
coach. So if you prepare for
physicalities.
Sean, you're not going to get... If you prepare for Sean and you try and fight Marshall, it's going to be different. If you prepare for Marshall and you get me, it's going to be different, you know? So...
why do you fight?
Why do I
Why
fight?
do you fight?
That's funny. My mom asked me that the other day, like maybe last week.
We just talked about it earlier, and I was like trying to figure it out, man.
Yeah,
I've read your thing, so I know a little bit about why, but they don't know why.
yeah. So honestly, man, why I fight, like I could just train and get like my therapy, so to speak, that way. But for me, fighting is absolutely terrifying. You know, it's an emotional roller coaster. To go in there with somebody who has been training to beat you and try and hurt you, that's honestly terrifying. But at the same time, I don't know right now in my life what is a bigger challenge than that. Like, what could possibly be a bigger challenge to me mentally and physically than fighting, you know, going in there against another trained individual and seeing like that's it, like no teams, no equipment, no, you know, no, none of that. We're gonna fight. Like, how much more primal does it get, you know? And it's being able to put myself through that and discipline myself, you know. Sure, discipline myself through the training, but then discipline myself mentally during the fight, to not give in to fear, which has been in the past very easy for me to do, to doubt myself, and give in to fear and, you know, just assume that I'm going to lose. It's been very easy to do that. So this evolution of where I started is now almost intoxicating, because it's like, okay, I went from being scared just fighting, because when I was a kid in karate, kids at school, like, normally they make fun of karate kids, I feel like, but they didn't make fun of me. But they like, you know, they knew I had a black belt in high school by the time I was in high school. And like, yeah, you know, that was cool to them, you know?
Right.
So I just kind of picked up fighting, I think, because I had to. Like, that was almost like where I was labeled as. But now it's changed. It was not just a label, but now it's like, I went from being this scared kid who was just kind of went with it because I thought it made me feel cool, to now I've overcome a lot of these fears, a lot of these self-doubts. And now I'm kind of like embracing, okay, now I'm not second guessing myself quite so much. And I'm kind of embracing what I have and the potential I have. And it's still the scariest thing, you know, because it's an emotional roller coaster. I still have those moments of self-doubt. But the cool thing is, I've only been doing this for 4 years. And can you imagine where I'll be in another 4 years? You know, this last year especially has been just crazy how much I've grown, with the help of my mom and my sisters, my family, especially helping with my mental training, and then in here with my physical and mental training with Corey and my team. It's still scary, but the highs that I get off of winning and off of achieving, like when I win a belt or I win a fight or whatever, it's not even like, I'm the shit, what's up, like I'm the best. Like, that's not even my first thought. Like, my mom asked me like one time, she was like, what is, because she's a big psychologist and a teacher, and she wants to know what's going on in my head too, before, after, and during fights. She goes, can you appreciate like what you just did? And I'm like, sometimes I almost don't, because I'm so relieved. Like, that's the first feeling I get when they announce my name. Isn't like joy, isn't happiness. Even though I know the fight I won, it's like relief. It's like, okay, now I can relax for a couple weeks and then do all this crazy stuff over again. I can go through all this emotional roller coaster, this physical craziness. This
more relief than elation, even.
Huh?
More relief than elation, even.
At first, yeah. I mean, then the elation kind of sits in, and then I'm kind of like happy. I want to say like I expect myself to win, but I almost do a little bit, because
it sounds like you're going there with pretty high expectations to win. If you're like, oh, thank God I pulled it off.
Yeah.
I knew I'm supposed to win this match.
I mean, there are some times where I've been like highly touted, or going to like this last class fight. I was defending champion, so obviously like that was a little bit on there too. But it's like in my head, I know I've yet to see somebody who, even if I already lost to them, like Mike Keefe, he's another one out of Bazooka Kickboxing. Like Mikey, I'd like to fight him again eventually. Lost him years ago. That was a conditioning flaw. Darn, wish we could get that back. But
they only count once you go turn pro.
Right? And there we go.
Those are the ones you want to win.
But I've yet to see somebody who is totally, like, in my weight class, in my range, who is totally outmatched and outskilled me, and I cannot compete with. I've yet to see anybody. And I've seen some guys at the highest levels of the national scene and the world scene, from the USA, from other countries. I see like the Pan Am Games highlights and the World Championship highlights. And I'm like, all right, I have to really put in some serious work to be able to pull off a win. But nothing I've ever seen is impossible. I've never seen an opponent where I'm like, there's no way I could beat them. So when I go into these fights, I already know that I can beat them. And if I don't beat them, that's most likely, not totally, because there's always one punch power, anything can happen in fighting,
right.
But if I don't beat them, I almost know that was because of me, because I didn't stick to the game plan of the fight, because I let something get away from me. I should be able to control at least my part of the fight, and if I don't, then I gave up. I think that's kind of it. I gave up. I quit somewhere. Maybe not. I didn't throw in the towel, so to speak, but I somewhere mentally, emotionally, I didn't stay disciplined. I didn't, whatever.
And that's the best thing about fighting too, because you get out exactly what you put in, and you can say whatever you want, and you have to say whatever you want.
You don't have
you're a fighter, but in your head what really happened in there.
You don't have a goalie to save you. You don't have 6 other teammates to save you. 2 other guys on your line to pick up the slack in case you fail. You don't have 3 other lines behind you in case you get tired. It's exactly like you said. What you get in is what you get out. So if you're in here half-assing yourself, you're cheating yourself. And I'll say it to my classes. I say, don't cheat me. Do not cheat yourself. Like, if we're doing something and we're doing an exercise or conditioning especially, nobody likes to condition, But if I'm teaching class and I see people start to slack, I'm like, don't you cheat me. Don't you cheat yourself. And sometimes when you hold people accountable to themselves, like that, I'm like, I don't care about cheating you, coach. Whatever, get out of here. But it's like, don't cheat yourself. And it's just like, dang, okay, fine. Like, I'll pick it up.
Go home and think about it. Like,
exactly.
The only times I ever fall short, I'm like, oh man, I could have done more. Like, I go home and I think about it, dude.
Right.
Like, that's the terrible feeling when you go home. You're like, man, I had a little bit more in me. I left it there.
Right. Exactly. And then it's just like,
and then you got to come back and kill it for the next 2 weeks, dude.
It itches at you. And I kind of like that though, because it keeps me honest. It keeps me, because I don't like feeling like that. And I every time I would feel that in training, it's like it would kind of eat at me, and at first I want to like push it aside like it wasn't true, but of course it's true, But then I'm thinking, okay, what if that is what makes or breaks my next fight. That like quitter's mentality, where it was too hard, so I didn't want to do it.
We gotta stop our inner bitch from coming out. Man.
Exactly.
Joe Rogan says all the time.
You gotta conquer your inner bitch. That's the thing. You know, got to conquer. I literally said that I think yesterday or 2 days ago in my class. We were doing push-ups and I was like, conquer your inner bitch. Like, don't cheat on me. Don't cheat yourself. Conquer it. Let's go. People were like, I think that you can see that some people are like, yeah. But that's what a coach is supposed to do. That's what Corey's done for me. He'll get in my face and he will be screaming at me and shit talking me and telling me like I think he knows like you can shit talk me and I don't really like I don't care.
He's a really good coach because he knows how to push each individual.
Right.
Like he pushes
Exactly.
you a lot different than
He'll
pushes
push
like,
Marshall.
Hayden.
He'll push Marshall. His shit talk Marshall. His shit talk Doyle, and they'll get pumped up. His shit talk me, and I'll like laugh, and I'll like shit talk back, whatever. Like I don't really care.
Yeah.
But he knows. I think he knows that I know that I can beat anybody. We both know, at least us two know, that I can have the potential to beat anybody. Not saying I will, but I have the potential, and that's the starting block. So he knows that's my trigger, and he goes like, so you're slacking? Like you're not gonna get like if he sees me start to falter at all, like he knows I'm gonna hold myself accountable, and he's gonna hold me accountable, and I trust him, and he's done so much for me that I do not want to let him down or myself down, and he knows that, and he will be up my ass.
So what was it like to go to Florida and actually train with where he came from and see Corey?
Oh my goodness, that was an eye opener. I realized I was too nice here. I realized I was way too nice in my classes, man. Because I would want to make sure people feel welcome and you know, I kind of let them, especially like the newer people, like let them get away with not necessarily great technique. Because they're newer, and I just want them to like enjoy class and come back, and I don't know, not give me a bad report. I don't even know if that's a thing. I don't think I've ever gotten a bad
Goes
report.
on permanent record,
right? I don't care. Whatever. Now I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, here's the deal. Like, I'm gonna teach you how to do it right, and we're gonna take our time until you get it right. You know. And if you purposely don't listen to me because you want to hit hard, or because you want to go fast, or because you don't like the way I'm teaching it, even though it's the right way, and you want to do it your way because it's easier, you're either doing conditioning or you're getting out. Because when I went down to his gym, I realized where he got his mentality from. They don't mess around. They do not mess around. You don't get to come in to the gym and train on days you feel like training, or do parts of the workout like I have some people like on the fight team who don't wanna do all the workouts we have. Now, I know life gets in the way of things sometimes, but even when they're here, we're doing a workout and they just want to do their own thing until it's time to hit pads, and they want to hit pads and they expect you to hold pads to them. You know, and I have a huge problem with that. That's disrespectful to everybody on the team, especially me. But I'm saying right now with Coach Corey gone, and I have the rest of my like fighters looking up to me right now to kind of lead the pack. Me and Coach Joe Catalano. That's rude as hell, and I do not appreciate that. You know. But anyways, when we went down there, yeah, if you're not in training, doing exactly what the coach says to a T, because he knows best, and he really does. They're phenomenal coaches down there. Coach Jason and Coach David. Obviously, Crew Ray came from that gym too. And obviously, that's Coach Corey's gym. They got plenty of national titles. Brandon Waters from that gym, plenty of national titles and international titles. So they know what they're doing. So if you think that you're going to train when you want or do parts of the workout when you want to do them because it's convenient for you, you're not fighting. It's simple as that. And you're not on fight team anymore for that matter. And you might as well just go back down to level 1. And if that doesn't kick you in the ego, or if that doesn't, you know, some people, that hurts their ego and they don't want to be a part of it. And I actually appreciate that. I'm like, good, get out. Now I'm not going to waste my time, or you're not going to waste your teammates' time. You're not going to waste your classmates' time. If you can't like check yourself and like humble yourself to put in the work and learn, get out. So when I came,
can be humbling too, man. Sometimes you guys come back from that, and then it makes them hungry.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. That is phenomenal. I love that. A lot of times it doesn't happen though.
Sometimes you just don't know any better, man. Like sometimes you're rude and you just don't know it. I mean, there's guys like that here, and like you gotta tell them what's going on, and you feel like an asshole. Like, but they just really don't know.
There's a difference between, you know, telling somebody like being a dick about it, and like, you know, and trying to portray the same message in a more constructive way, which is always my first and second and third option. I mean, if it's consistent, like I'll give you like 3-4 strikes. If you're consistently not listening to me though, I'm gonna make an example of you by making you do the push-ups. Like I said, you're doing burpees. Like don't don't think I'm not going to make you do them, or I'm going to put you aside after class. I'm not going to embarrass you. Of course, I would never do that. But if you're intentionally, not listening to me or the coach, and I've come into other coaches' classes too. Like I've had people not pay attention to Coach Sean, and I don't know if it's because he's younger than a lot of the people he teaches, or because, but this is way back when he was newer. I would straight up come into his class and call people out and be like, are you guys watching? Like they'd be talking and like doing their own thing. I'm like, hey, your coach is talking. You're not talking. Like you're paying attention.
So nice too, man. It's tough.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Usually I am.
He's so nice.
Oh,
like,
Sean,
is so nice.
Yeah.
Like I don't think he's saying anything, dude.
Yeah, I don't even know if he notices sometimes. Yeah, he's kind of it's like whatever, you're lost, and I'm like, oh no, come here. But anyways, yeah, I coming back from there, they have a very strict, very pure style of Muay Thai. And it's cool because it's a style that I like very much. There's multiple styles of Muay Thai. We can get into that. Punchers, low kickers, clinchers, kneers. They have a very technical, like all around style. And from what I've seen coming from Jason and Corey not as much. Corey's more of a just destroy them and just break them in half. But
Corey's just like my crew Marshall, and him and Corey like have almost that same style, just that mentality, come forward, just
maintain.
They're both like gigantic guys.
Maintain control of the ring, control of the distance, and just smash them apart. But he has some teammates, and like Crew Ray and Jason, one of his teammates who is a coach down there now. They're very tricky. They're tricky. They're sneaky. They're very technical, and their feints and their elusiveness is
Sounds
huge.
like your clinch game.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the point. So it was awesome down there. So when I came back, I was like, I think kind of revamped up Corey too. Be like, yeah, I'm being too nice too. And then it was an eye opener a little bit, because that's not, if I'm letting people get off, even if they're newer, even if they're their first class, if I'm letting them get off, even though I know I can help them, and I'm letting them not do it the right way because it's their first class, and I'm letting them their second class, their third class, their first week of classes, and I'm letting them just half-ass, I'm doing such a disservice to them, and I didn't realize that. I didn't appreciate that. I was kind of like, I'm the coach, I'm separate from you a little bit, like your training is my training, I got my own thing. As I come back from there, I was like, and seeing how it, like, I think it almost like made me realign myself, and I was like they're looking up to me, even if they don't know it. Like they're looking to me for direction. I say stop, they all eyes on me. Like, okay, coach, what's next? So if I say good job, they're assuming they're doing it right. So if I say good job and you're not doing it right, that's totally on me. And I would expect any of my coaches to do the same thing. If I was like, hey, Coach K, man, how does this look? And in your head, you're like, well, your foot placement's off and your leverage is terrible and your posture's god-awful. But you're like, hey, it's pretty good. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to keep doing it like that,
I never say good. I'm just like, it's not terrible. Or if it's terrible, I say it's terrible.
It's terrible.
I don't say good unless it's actually good.
Say that to the kids too?
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, how's this? Like, well, kind of sucks.
I'm just saying, well, it's not the best I've ever seen.
But that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
If it wasn't great and you said it pretty good, I'd be like, all right, cool, man, let's gotta tweak something, But if it's got awful and you say pretty good,
yeah, pretty good doesn't go unless
right?
it's actually pretty good,
right? And that's not on them. That was on me as a coach. So now you can ask my fight team guys and my level 2 guys especially. They're like, yeah, we love him. He's kind of an ass sometimes though.
You gotta be to be a good coach though. Like you gotta really be on people, because bad habits are hard to break.
Yeah. And I like about level 1 when I'm teaching like the new people especially. I'm like, we're gonna break these habits before you even get them. Like that's just instinct to do it this way. Cock your arm back and play your elbow up and drop your hands to throw a punch. We're gonna break that before you even know you're doing it. And when I've trained at other gyms, that's something I've found consistently. Like I've had the pleasure of training at Art of 8 in San Diego and Steel MMA in San Diego, and they have a ton of national champions and national fights between the two of them. I trained with Michael Chase Corley in Houston, and Sean Madden in Houston, and Tony Cummings in Houston. They were all in town for the Glory fights when I was down there with Joe Taylor. So I had 3 huge names in Muay Thai, which I didn't even appreciate till later. Until I looked them all up and I was like, damn, and they gave me like a full... The 3 of them stood around me while I hit pads with Coach Tony and just tore apart my knee and kick for about half an hour.
That's amazing. I mean,
It was a
sounds
phenomenal.
terrible, but
I
that's
loved
awesome.
it. I
Yeah.
freaking loved it. I was like, oh, thank you. I'm doing something wrong. Like, please, for the love of God.
Yeah.
You know, and it was frustrating at first, like, shit. But I love that. I love that frustration because I was like, okay, I got to go back and make it pretty. And then I got to do it over and over and over and over. Oh, I did it wrong. And over. And, you know, I love that.
And it's good when you got someone so experienced around you.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, it's doing right. And then
for
you
sure.
can get to feel what it's supposed to really feel like.
Yeah, I trained
And
it
then it's easy to learn.
at CSA with Coach Kieran, you know, Common Sports Academy in Dublin, California. They're hot, especially in Muay Thai. Gaston Bolaños and Kevin Ross are from there. You know, Coach K knows his shit for sure. You know, with Dwayne Ludwig and Bang Muay Thai in Denver. Like, I've trained with some high level coaches for sure, and I've always just been a small fish in their pond. You know, and something I've always noticed is they are, I'll say strict. That seems like they're strict to their hard asses, but there is no leniency for poor technique if you're intentionally not listening. Like, if you just get it wrong, they'll take the time to, of course, with patience, with so much patience, to break it down. First day, I was actually with Coach Dwayne Ludwig. He was like, you know what, this is good. It could be a little better. Let's fix it. I did a different way, and he goes, like, that's what I'm talking about. That's better, you know. But I saw other people where they would just keep doing the same thing. He's like, what the hell's going on? You listening to me or what? You know. And it's like, that's the thing. It's like, if you do it wrong in, like, unknowingly, they'll that's on them. They'll correct it. We'll tweak it. That's like the team, you know, the team mentality there. But then if they tell you and you intentionally are not focused enough, you're not like conscious enough to slow it down and get it right, that's on you. And I say that to my students too. I'm like, when they're like, okay, well, how do I get this better? I'm like, you just do it. You gotta keep your posture straight. You gotta keep your shoulders over your hips. You know, you can't be leaning forward. You can't have my face over my knee. And they're like, well, how do I fix it? I'm like, you gotta be conscious. You gotta think about that, or whatever it is. You know. And I will take the time to. And if I see them trying, I'll obviously be nicer. But if they just completely one ear, not the other, I'm like, all right, push-ups, get
I'm
it.
always really honest with people I know are going to fight, or they express interest in fighting, because they're going in there and they
Right.
could die. Like, this is it's not a game when you go in a cage or the ring, or
And I got big gloves and headgear.
Yeah,
and
but
shin
even
guards.
it's still you could
I've
come
seen
out
people-
of it not the same.
Yeah, I've seen people, even with shin guards, get wrists broken, ribs cracked. You know.
Even like
For the
one
love of
knockout, man,
God.
can change your life.
Yeah, look at Joe Taylor's last opponent.
Oh my god.
Holy, that was scary as hell.
Look at
Woo!
Mickey. You could end up like Mickey.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mickey.
We hope that never happens to
He's probably
anybody.
pooped his pants on the mat by now.
Right, choked out and crap himself.
That's the best fight ever. You have to watch that one time.
That's what happens when you come in, Mick.
Yeah.
We don't see you for like 6 months.
Right. Yeah, he's back. It was good to see him. Actually, he looks like he's in good shape. Last time he was a little round.
A little round.
Yeah, he looks cut up. Anyways, I brought you in here today because
Yeah.
you want to go to Thailand and train.
Yes.
So let's talk about that a little
Yeah.
bit.
I am going to Thailand, so I'm going to be visiting family in California like we do every summer. Visiting my godparents out there, my cousins. Training in San Diego, again at Art of 8 and Steel MMA, you know, with Coach Mike Lemaire and, you know, that whole team out there. And then from there, I'll be flying out of LA to Koh Phangan, which is one of the islands in Thailand. And I'll be training at Diamond Muay Thai. So I decided for my first trip, because I know I'm going to go out there again and again and again and again. For my first trip to kind of get used to the heat, because I'm going in August too. So for the love of God.
Good thing you're pretty tan.
Yeah, right. And actually, I'm still gonna be like the light skinned guy there.
Yeah, for sure.
But I decided to stay away from like the hubbub of like Pattaya or Bangkok, and because it's the first time training out there in that heat twice a day, 2 or 3 hours a session on that diet, you know. So it's like I don't want to get too distracted with not saying I wouldn't be disciplined to train, but because that's of course not the problem, but just a little quieter, you know, on one of the islands, not such a big tourist destination. Go out there, train. There's So Kopagan is a small island, and then Koh Samui, I think how you pronounce it, is a bigger island. I don't know.
Don't ask me.
Is a bigger island like right adjacent to it, and they have like a stadium, a fight stadium on Koh Samui. So the goal is to train out there for 4 weeks. The plan, not the goal, the plan is to train out there 4 weeks twice a day and fight at least once. Twice would be awesome because you can fight like freaking every day of the week.
Yeah.
Twice would be awesome if I was healthy enough, from the first fight. But obviously health is number one. Make sure I'm not dehydrating myself or banging myself up in the first fight or getting stitches or anything like that. But yeah, I am so excited. It's been a long time coming, and now it's time where it's finally the right time.
I had Anthony Ford on a couple times.
Yeah.
And he talked about his experience in Thailand. Like, wake up. He's like, because he got to run in the morning, and he wanted to go out and run. He's like, no, you no run today, you fight. And they made him fight like 5 days in a row.
That's awesome.
So he fights 5 days in a row, so he doesn't have to run.
Dang. That's crazy.
And then like his trainer was just taking the money to go get drinks. Thailand's an awesome place. I hope you don't have any experience like that, but
I don't, honestly, man. If I'm healthy enough and I don't know what cool, because I don't know how big the pool is. I mean, it's not too far away from the mainland or anything, But honestly, if they're like, "Oh, you're healthy. You want to fight again? We got somebody for you." They're like, "Oh, this will be a good fight." I'm healthy. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I trust. You think I should? Like, you think I'm feeling good? Trust the trainers out there. Let's do it."
I want you to fight a lot because a foreigner fighting over there is big for them.
Yeah. So I'm excited.
What gym are you? Oh, you already said
Diamond
that.
Muay
Are
Thai.
you gonna be taking their name like they do in Thailand when you fight, or?
Well, I'm out there. I will be.
Yeah.
I don't know if I will when I come back, obviously.
Right.
But because when I go out next time, I'm gonna try and go to some different gyms in Bangkok, like Corey's head coach, Crew Adachai, his gym in Bangkok, and some other gyms. But for now, while I'm out there, of course, if they're gracing me with my training and giving me the time, I'm excited.
I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard it's different out there. Like it's very acceptable to train at one gym and go train another gym and another gym and another gym. They're not uptight about it. They encourage it because gyms specialize in like Thai and like the clinch, and then others that specialize in knee
I don't know.
and boxing.
See, I've that sounds like totally possible, but I don't know, because at the same time, then I've heard of people like
it might matter that you're
like
foreigner,
Bukow,
yeah,
like where they're on contract to the gym and the gym gets so much of their purse, they maybe don't want you training at other gyms. If you're on contract to them and you're making them a lot of money, I don't know. I'm not saying everybody's greedy out there. I have no idea. I've never been there.
It probably matters when
But-
you're carrying a gym's name like he is, though. I mean, that's
Right.
That's probably a little bit different.
Yeah, and
I
then
would
he's
imagine.
also international superstar.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. I think about it. I'm 23. He was 24 when he won the K1 the first
Yeah.
time. That's madness.
You're definitely on that level, man. Like, you may not see it, but I see. You see how good Pat Mix is, how good he does in Bellator. You're that good in Thai.
We knew that was being a Pat Mix real fast. Throw it on Pat. We knew that was happening. I didn't know it was gonna be a minute 6, but I was like first round. Like
I knew it was gonna be that fast,
people
dude. Like,
sleep on Patchy.
He's got to have like so much pressure on him because his Bellator debut. I knew he was gonna be on fire. I knew that fight was gonna be over in 3 minutes. Or
I feel
less.
like I've never been around Pat backstage before a fight, but I feel like he's the kind of guy who strives under pressure. Like throw it on me, like I'll prove everybody.
He's a guy that's determined all camp, and then on fight night, he's like, "It's my time." Like that's the only time he's ever cocky. He's like, "On fight day, dude." That's good to see. That's how you're gonna be too, man. You know you put in that time. I can't wait to see it too.
I'm excited.
We watch you on Glory. I'll probably have to buy Danza when you start fighting.
That's the goal, man. Want to be like the John Wayne Parr somewhere in there. People, because a lot of people, I think when they watch, now maybe not your listeners so much because they know you know, but a lot of people when they say you're a fighter or kickboxer or boxer, MMA fighter especially, can get a bad rep. I feel like, oh, you just like to hurt people, human cockfighting, blah blah blah. You're a punch drunk idiot. You have no life and whatever. But it's one of the beautiful things about this place. We have construction workers and teachers and college students, and
I think Muay Thai in general is even like cleaner than jiu-jitsu and MMA for sure. Like,
Really?
It's just so respectful. I
It,
think.
it is, yes. And that's something that kind of gets lost a little bit in the amateur levels, especially, where they're like, okay, you don't have any time to do the white crew or to the ring, blah, blah, blah. Just get in there and fight. And then we go on to the next. You know, a lot of these promotions don't really appreciate the... Even though some of the coaches and the promoters might know Muay Thai, they don't really respect the full tradition of it.
Right.
You know, which is, of course, all about respect.
Just make them weigh and do it.
Yeah.
Do it right more. Who cares?
And there's just like no, and it's not nearly as like stressful, I feel like, over there. I could totally be wrong, but I'm speculating from what I've seen and watched. It's not nearly as stressful over there as it is here, because you're gonna, even though they're all pro, every fight's pro, you know, you're fighting again in 2 weeks and next week and the week after, and you know, it's just like,
Just the way of life there.
yeah, it's just,
There's no macho.
Yeah.
It's just, this is what we do.
it doesn't matter if you lose, you
Right.
learn, okay, and adapt and keep going.
There's
Like,
so much respect, too.
here it's
at
like,
the high levels.
people want that 0. You know, they want that 10-0, 4-0, 11-0, 21-0, and there's so much put behind it.
You got guys that are 1-6 that act like that, too, though. You know,
Right,
that's crazy.
right.
You know, like,
But then you go out there and you have guys who are 139 or
and 18.
yeah, right, yeah. Or they have like 80 losses. They have some of the best guys in the world right now. They've got like 60, 70, 80 losses. Granted,
Right.
they have like 200 wins, 100
Uh-huh.
wins, 150 wins. You know, look at the Glory Champ. He's got like Patch. He's only got like, I don't know, like 150 fights, and he's got a decent number of losses. You know, but that's just, it's a lot different over there. You know, it's not about the ego. It's not about the image. It's about the art, and it's about the fight. It's about the fight. Not all the publicity and the image that comes attached with it as being a fighter or who you are being defined by your win and loss record.
Right. It's just a way of life and a way to develop your soul and your spirit. And it's more spiritual, I think.
Oh, I think so too. I know so. That's
why I like Muay Thai more than any of the other sports I've ever done. Just the respect. Like, I love going to seminars and just the respect that everyone has for each other as they're beating the shit out of each other.
right.
But it's still
It's
respectful.
fun. God,
Yeah.
it's fun. Like, you beat the crap out of each other. You're both smiling and yelling at each
Yeah.
other, and
They knock you down as hard as they can, and
then they laugh at you, and they yeah.
It's the
Right.
best.
It's like
It sounds sick, but it's really it's
the
not.
egos are like, whereas I think sometimes, I could totally be wrong, sometimes MMA, boxing, it might help to kind of like have a bit of your own individual flair. Not saying that doesn't help for Muay Thai either, to promote yourself, and of course not, but that's not nearly as important. The art is so much bigger than the individual athlete. The fight is so much bigger. The ring itself, literally the ring itself, is so much bigger than the individual athlete, because the people come to this very sacred spot to watch two warriors go at it.
That's how I felt Friday when everyone was watching us spar. Because
Yeah.
you feel it when everyone stops.
Yeah.
It's like me and you.
Oh, I
sparring.
like that. Yeah.
And we were just like laughing at each other. It was fun, dude. It wasn't
Yeah.
like, usually when I'm in there with someone, it's like it's serious, but we were just smiling and laughing
Yeah.
and having a good time, dude. Even though you're beating me up, it was fun as fuck.
Frustrating, man. As soon as I like got all this little jits crap going on, like I thought you're going for like underhooks and you're squatting away from me. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Damn it! Trying sweeps that might normally work a little bit better, and you're like, oh nope, got jiu-jitsu base.
Yeah.
Can't
I'm
sweep
not letting
me.
you Sweep me. Not everyone watching, not like that.
Like, all right, now we're gonna just
Yeah.
tweak it up a little bit.
Yeah, it was fun. Anyways, are you independently wealthy?
No,
What do you do for a living?
I wish that'd be sick, wouldn't it? Could just travel and fight.
Yeah.
No,
I'm going somewhere with this, so help
I'm
me
a
out.
full-time student.
Right.
So I'm actually taking this semester off of grad school. Like one more year left of grad school. Take this semester off in the fall, most likely, because I'll be coming back from town right ahead of that just to get money back. But I full-time student, just graduated with my bachelor's in May, and I am also a substitute teacher.
So we're trying to get Tony to Thailand. Well, he's already got his tickets. He's going.
Yes,
but
I'm going.
He has no food. He doesn't have too much other stuff. So we're trying to raise some money for Tony. We had some donations already. He's got a page. I'm going to link to this. So if you're listening to this, click the link underneath it and, give Tony some money. And please subscribe while you're doing it.
That would be
that as well.
amazing. That would be a blessing. We've reached, I think, almost half the goal, or maybe half the goal, in like a week, and it's been a real a real blessing, and it's nice to see because I have the majority of people that have donated are people from the gym, and they're students, people who I've taught the year, and then now they're on fight team or they're in MMA or whatever. You know, obviously I have like personal friends and family and high school friends and college friends. You know, but vast majority, at least like 70%, 75% is people from the gym. And they come up and they tell me, because I everybody who donates, I'm saying thank you to, either message, Facebook, Instagram, or in the gym. If I know I'm gonna see them in the gym, I'll wait till I can say it in person. But they're all like, yeah, like you work your ass off, like this, you deserve it, and it means a lot. Like, you deserve it. You've been talking about going to town for a while, and it's only gonna make you better. And then it's fun that they already know that, they're like, you're gonna take that knowledge and then pass it on, and they already know that. Like, they already know. Like, I don't have to say that. Like, I'll maybe give me money because I'm gonna go learn the secrets and I pass it on. You know, like, they already know that whatever I learn, I'm going to to pass along, because that's the very blessed position I have as a coach. And so it's been phenomenal so far.
So let's get Tony some money, and he's probably gonna need a little extra because he's gonna need some Imodium when he gets out there, because it's gonna be a total change of diet and climate. So
Right.
we gotta keep Tony training. He's probably gonna need some massages too for his legs, because they're probably gonna get beat up.
No donation is too big or small.
Yeah.
No comment is unappreciated. Something else, man, besides the money, the number of stories. Because obviously on the page, I go into a little bit what Muay Thai has done for me and where I came from, you know, and the rough up, very, very, very nasty upbringing I had, and how Muay Thai has been a therapy on so many levels. Physical, of course, just the release, and then the mental and emotional strength that I find, and that's a part of the reason why I fight too. You know, I now I'm at this point, I can just keep going. I'm excited to see where I can keep going. So on my page, there's like the picture of me and where I'm going and why I'm going and the breakdown of funds and our goal and everything.
I like that. A lot of people don't do that in their fundraisers. You're like, this is where the funds are going.
Yeah,
it's a really good idea.
Yeah, it was a great setup that Marshall sent me, this page, but to use, this platform to use. But yes, on the I get a little vulnerable too, you know, and explain, because it's not something that I normally do. I think most people who know me, they just know it's happy-go-lucky Tony, who likes to love, and he'll hug you and then he'll kick you in the face, you know, whatever. But I had to get a little vulnerable and be honest with what Muay Thai has done for me, because I'm not just doing this to go vacation. I'm doing this to continuously improve myself and strengthen my mind and strengthen my body and strengthen my spirit, because I've come a long way, you know, and just to see an amazing support system around me, such an amazing family around me, has been nothing short of a blessing. To say I appreciate it would be an understatement.
Well, now that they're going to read this part, I'm going to ask you the questions that I have.
What's up?
Because you talk about how you grew up in an abusive family.
Yeah.
Thing, and now you've given a lot of love to your mom and your sister. So
yeah.
Is
so
that
they're
like an adopted family, or?
So funny you say that. The abusive people. So I was adopted when I was about 18 months old, and I lived with those people till I was 17. I can't even call them family, you know. Even the siblings, I can't even go that. I think there's one of 6 siblings that I actually, you know, like, and, you know, am willing to call a brother. The rest are just no. So I moved out of there when I was 17. And they were extremely, extremely violently abusive. You know, I get punched, whipped, scratched, choked out. I'd go to school with marks on me when I was younger. And then as I got older, I got to a point where I would get hit in places where you wouldn't see the marks. You know, wasn't allowed to eat, wasn't allowed to even use the bathroom sometimes. It was awful. It was awful is an understatement. Felt like human property more than a son. If almost the worst part was, but at the same time, a saving grace was I was adopted, so I knew that they weren't my biological parents. So that was always kind of like a saving grace for me in my head.
Hope,
right, like, I don't know these fuckers, they just hate me.
Yeah.
Oh, pardon me.
No, whatever, man.
But so I moved out of there when I was, with the help of some friends and my godmother, my best friend's mom. in high school. My best friend, and then her mom was a teacher at the high school, and with their help, I was able to move out into a male friend's house because I didn't move in with them right away because they're all females, and I don't know if that'd be whatever.
Right.
If we're a teacher at the school, if that's appropriate, even if she's
Yeah.
my godmother, And that male friend, his dad was the one who got me into jiu-jitsu, and then I ended up coming here while I was living there, and then I ended up after I graduated, moving from that male friend's house into my godmother's house, who is now I always call her mom because she's the only mother I ever had. She's not my biological mother, she's not my adopted mother, but she's my mother. And obviously her daughters are my sisters, and that's my family. And if I'm sure you've seen her at fights, or you've seen her in the gym
for
before.
sure.
Yeah, she's
That's
lovely.
why I was like
She's
having
awesome.
a hard time. Like imagine
Yeah,
that person being abused.
right.
You know what I mean?
It's
So
not.
like that's
Oh,
why
she's
I had
not.
the question. 'Cause
She's
I'm
the
sure-
exact opposite. She is the smartest, kindest, most amazing person I've ever met.
she seems like it too.
She is awesome.
I just want to clear up the confusion when you see Tony with
No,
family.
yeah.
Because like I knew there had to be like that couldn't be your
those
family. that you're
those
writing
three
about.
women, those three, my two sisters, they're both about my age. One's a couple months younger than me, one's a couple years younger than me. Those three women have saved my life on more than one occasion.
It's awesome. Not
mentally and
Muay Thai is
physically.
good, too.
So, and they are the best. So,
I see why you and Corey bonded.
yeah.
You definitely can see it too. There's like almost like a father too.
Mm.
That's how I feel about my crew Mark too. Like Muay Thai has a similar experience in my life too. It's helped me through a lot of difficult times.
Yeah.
Crew Mark was always there for me, just like Corey's always there for you. And
It's
I
always-
feel like a kinship
always
to you
been there
guys,
for me.
You know?
I like a lot of people. But the people who I really, at the end of the day, like who, just because I have a lot of friends and I know a lot of people, like who really has my back no matter what. Like if shit went bad, and I look like I was the worst person on the planet, who would still have my back? And I know that's always my mom, my sisters, and Corey for a fact. Plus some of my teammates, Sean, and I know for a fact. Some people, no matter what, but always have my back. And I've been blessed enough these last couple years to find them. So, and with Muay Thai, it's been a lot of therapy through that too. So
That's awesome.
The
Wow.
art, the physical side of it, that's the respectful, sacred side of it. So for years that became like my addiction and my religion. That I was glad to have something where I could finally really invest myself without guilt or without a fear of whatever being taken away from me. Now I had the time to. I found this, and then I obviously found Corey, and he put more. He's probably invested more into me than I have into myself. Especially in the beginning. So
And it takes someone like that to get you to where you are.
Yeah,
too.
of
It
course.
really does.
Of course.
Coaching is so important. You're gonna do it to someone else too, man. You're gonna pass it along. I'm sure that happened. Similar story in Corey's life too. You can tell something was rough in his upbringing too. Just the way he acts and how nice he is. Like all these guys that are super tough and super friendly, they have something in their past that makes them like that. Most people don't get very good at Muay Thai and be very friendly unless there's some traumatic experience in their life, and that's the truth.
Sometimes it's rough where you have to go through some real deep pits of hell to be able to appreciate them and be able to help people. Some people just really can't appreciate or can't see the way out of the darkness, but you already being there and being able to come out of it can help guide somebody. And I've already found that here a couple of times, and it sucks, having that as my my first 17 years of my life were absolute shit, were absolute terrible. I had to reprogram the way I think and the way I act and the way I'm not in survival mode all the time, and I can actually slow down and engage and enjoy myself and enjoy my family and not just fucking be go all the time. But it's sometimes I think I wouldn't change the direction I came in going through all that for over almost 2 decades, for 15, 16, 17 years, somewhere in there. I don't know the exact number obviously when it started, but it was when I was young before I was even in kindergarten. The abuse started. So for years and years and years, that's what I went through every single day. I hated weekends and time off from school because school was my escape, but there are so many times where I know I'm pretty confident where, God gave me this life for a reason. Didn't do it for nothing. He helped me through all that, so I'm at a place now where I'm so much stronger, and I can help other people through it. And honestly, some people don't like when I say this, but I'm confident enough to say that I wouldn't change what I went through. Granted, I think I would do it differently if I had the knowledge now. I could get out of that shit a lot sooner. But I wouldn't change what happened in my life because of the people that I have in it now and the capacity I have those people in now. Is I know they're real and I know they care about me and they're not two-faced. They're not just saying one thing like I grew up with, and this knowledge I have and this innate ability to help people is and appreciate where they're coming from, is to be relatable and to maybe I haven't been in the exact same situation you are, but I can understand the emotional pain or toll, whatever that you're going through. That's something that it came at a heavy cost, but now I've kind of like paid that price, and I'm still working on fixing myself, so to speak. But I don't mind because now I can take that pain and lessons and I can use them to inspire, and I can use them to help, and that's at the end of the day, man. That's what a coach does. That's what a coach is supposed to do. That's what a teacher is supposed to do. So it's not a coincidence that I teach and I'm a teacher during the day and a coach at night, because that genuinely is what I love to do.
Yeah. Is that what you and your psychologist mom talk about a lot? I guess it worked out to be really good.
We actually did a little bit recently. So talking about what do you want to do with your life? So I'm taking some time out of grad school before I finish. He's like, what do you want to do with your life? Don't just go to school to go to school. And I'm like, I love coaching, I love teaching, but I don't want to be a teacher. You said I want to fight. I want to do all these other things. So I was figuring out. But two things that I know I love to do is coach and teach, and then fight. Teaching and fighting.
Make a powerful teacher, man. You're gonna be good at whatever you do. You have a lot of empathy that's gonna come out of you. I can feel it even when you're kneeing me in the liver.
This is for you, only because I love you.
Yeah. I love it, man. Thank you for your time, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been a
this.
long time coming.
Yeah.
Maybe after I come back, we'll do it again.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. We'll talk all about your experience, man.
Yeah.
And then we'll start fundraising for the next one.
Yeah.
So we gotta keep it going out there, man.
Yeah,
it's very healthy for you.
The goal is to come back, fight in the national tournaments in November. It's unfortunate because there's two right back to backs, and I don't think I'll be able to do the weight for both, 2 cuts for both tournaments. But fight on at least one national tournament. I think the USMTA one is what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. Win that tournament, fight at the international level. That's my goal for this year. After I've got a national and international title, then transition to MMA. Then from there,
you're not gonna go pro, huh?
Then from there, go pro.
Yeah, because you don't want to turn pro and have to do pro MMA, dude.
Nah.
Pro level grappling.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I need to work on my jits. It's been a minute.
I'm sure it's tough. Look at your ear, man. Jeez.
Yeah. So, tentative plan for now, and it's long short term plan. We'll say, next couple of months. But I'm beyond excited, beyond blessed to be in the position I am right now.
Awesome, man. Thank you for your time.
Yes.
Thank you guys for listening to this. Make sure you click like and subscribe. Check out Integrity Martial Arts on Sundays. Check out the True Mrs. Caveman on Instagram and get some nice knitted bags or whatever else you need that's knitted. And we're out of here. Thanks. We did this one at the gym, so it's pretty late. And they're about to shut the lights off on us. We got to go take our picture.
I know they are.
And get out of here.